Good evening, good evening, good evening. Everyone's connecting to audio. People are coming in the room. We are excited to see so many familiar names and some new ones. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Monday Night Live. Good evening. As you're coming in, our chat is open, so please let us know who you are and where you are from. I'm going to ask a really silly question, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. Are there any Deltas here tonight? If you're a Delta, please make sure you put that in the chat. Let us know which alumni chapter you're from. If you are,
Yes.
all right. Hi, Miss Jefferson. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Yes, let us know where you are from, where your chapter is. Hello, if you're part of the Divine Nine, please, anybody from the Divine Nine, say hello. We want to greet everyone. If you're a member of a church, we want to know what church you're from. Let us know what part of the country you're from as well. Hello, all right, let me see. That's the Port City. Okay, the chat is chatting. Let's go, let's go. Good evening. Okay, Marietta Roswell chapter supporting Olivia Blakemore. Oh, yes, we have a special guest with us. You're going to hear about her. Yeah, okay. All right. So Mobile said they're coming back. So you got two representatives there. Hello, everybody. Yeah, okay. The Deltas are in the building. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. All right. Is that the New Liberia Alumni Chapter? All right. Hey, Detroit. Welcome, everybody. Come on in the room. We're getting excited. Yes, to see all of you. Hello, 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 and welcome to Monday Night Live. We're just giving a few more moments because I see people still coming in. If you're here, if you want to represent your church as well as your sorority or fraternity, please feel free to shout it out in the chat. We are checking the chat frequently. You'll hear more about it. Hey, Accra, Ghana in the building. Hello, Josh. Welcome. We're so grateful for you and our home team that helps us out behind the scenes. Hello, everybody. All right, some more Mobile, Marietta, Georgia. I don't know. Should I start taking a tally? How many are here for each team? I don't know. Y'all going neck and neck. This is great. Come on in the room. Let me see. Let me see. We're going to give it one more minute before we get started. Let me see. Let me see. Hello, hello, hello. All right. We always try to be D-free with our money. Hello, Houston alumni. But we're also trying to be D-free with our time. And so in just about 30 seconds, we're going to get started. Hello, hello. Welcome, Houston. Thank you for signing on with us. I know you might just be getting off work right about now with the time difference. So we're grateful that you're here. All right. Okay. Countdown. Yes. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right. More Mobile. Very good to see everyone. We want to say hello to everybody and officially welcome you to Monday Night Live. Monday Night Live is our space where we talk about D-Free Global Foundation and all things money and all things D-Free. It is under the direction of our founder and CEO, Dr. DeForest B. Soaries Jr., and I am Reverend Shonda Sutton, and I'm excited to be your host this evening. We have with us some very special guests, but before we get into our guests, we just want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you who are familiar with Monday Night Live, this should be old hat for you, but for anybody, this is new news. We just ask that you mute yourself just in the beginning in order to minimize distractions and to reduce the amount of microphone feedback. We just want you to remain muted, but if you want to join the conversation, you can feel free to unmute yourself and join us. This is a very casual environment. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your questions. We also want to remind you, these sessions are being recorded. So when you came on, you saw a little notification that said you're being recorded there because we want to make them available for rewatch. Not everybody was able to attend, but we want to make sure that you come and you can watch them, rewatch them on dfreefoundation.org or our YouTube channel. We also want to be able to send them out to those who registered for Monday Night Live but were unable to attend. I've already introduced you to the chat, but we want to make sure you continue to use the chat because we have reminders that'll be in the chat. We also drop links throughout the night. It's a great place to put your questions and we'll weave them into our conversation. So we want to make sure that you use the chat. You can shout each other out. You can give some feedback. It could be an amen corner. We invite you to really utilize that chat. And last but not least, there's the raise hand feature. So just in case I might have missed you on you came on or nervous to come off mute or might have missed it in the chat, feel free to use that raise hand feature, which is right at the bottom of the screen. And we'll see it and you can share your thoughts and you'll be added to the conversation. So that is our little bit of housekeeping. We hope you heard it all. We are excited tonight. I know you got the memo that we have some Deltas in the building. First person we have with us is Mrs. Olivia Blakemore. She is the member of the Economic Development Committee and the D-Free Subcommittee co-chair. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter. Her profession is that she's a technical research librarian, but tonight she's going to be an expert on D-Free. So we're excited to have you with us, Mrs. Blakemore. In addition to Mrs. Blakemore, we have with us Sharnita Taylor, who is also, she's the Economic Development Committee chairperson for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated with the Mobile Alumni Chapter. Her profession is, she's a workforce development coordinator for infirmary health systems. I hope I got that right. We're excited to have both of these ladies with us today. But before we get into our conversation with them and officially meet them, I do want to issue just one small disclaimer, if you'll give me a moment. While we're pleased to have with us Miss Olivia Blakemore and Miss Sharnita Taylor today, they're here to share their experiences about teaching the D-Free curriculum. And they're both members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, one of our strategic partners whom we are very, very excited to be working with to transform our communities and to increase wealth and decrease debt. And so we're very excited about that. But the opinions that they share tonight are based on their own experience. They do not represent the sorority as a whole. It does not represent Delta Sigma Theta Sorority as a whole, but we are excited to have them share their personal experience. So let's get into it. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening. Do you want to shout these chapters? I've seen so many people coming in from each one of your chapters. So is it, do you want to take the time to be able to shout out your chapters?
I just want to thank the members of the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter for supporting me tonight. Sora Tanya Berg, Camille Patterson, Tiffany Holloway, everybody else who's here, and for the Mobile Soros as well. Thank you for joining us.
And I definitely want to thank the Mobile Alumni Chapter for joining us tonight. I see our president, Roxanne Hannon Odom, on tonight. I see our first vice, Sheila Spencer, with a host of members from the chapter. Thank you for joining.
Yes, ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we're so excited to have this really, really robust conversation about all things that you've been doing. You guys have been making some major strides. And so I do want to congratulate you first. I think I'm going to start off with Miss Olivia first. I want to congratulate you. I understand that you have about 28 people that'll be graduating. Am I right?
We have about 23. We had a few that didn't make all the requirements, but we have about 23 that finished our program earlier this month. So we are very excited to have our inaugural session under our belt.
All right. So this was your first session ever?
First ever. We started with the $1 billion pay down a few years ago. But had to table that for a little bit, but this is our first session delivering the D-Free curriculum.
Excellent, excellent. And we congratulate you on that. It feels like it's been so many years that we've been working together. I can't believe this is your first group. So congratulations on this first inaugural class. Now, Ms. Sharnita, I want to congratulate you. A drum roll, please. On 43 graduates. Is that true? Oh my goodness.
That's true. We started with 50, but 43 finished with us.
Excellent. Congratulations. And you all have done, did you hold graduation ceremonies? What were your graduations like?
This was our first, so this was our inaugural class as well. And we had a ceremony on Saturday, and we had pomp and circumstance going and reflections. It was just great. And members of the community and the sorority were there to celebrate our graduates. And we had a brunch afterwards. So it was amazing.
Oh, see, I didn't get the invite for that. Yeah, I missed the memo for that one. Y'all invite me to the virtual ones. Y'all invite me to the in-person. But that's exciting. That's wonderful. I love the fact that you celebrate your graduates in such a grand way. But there had to be some steps to get them there. So one of the things I noticed about the two of you is that, first of all, you are the first time we're really interviewing an organization as a whole on Monday Night Live. We generally talk about what happens with churches and pastors, and we have different folks coming on, but we'd like to talk a little bit deeply about how you were able to share the D-Free curriculum. We know that it's a faith-based program. How were you able to weave that into sharing it with your sorority sisters? And either one can, I want to hear from both. So I guess I'll start with you because you're on screen, Miss Renita.
So we used the curriculum that was laid out in the facility guide by the D-Free Foundation. We also utilized the videos. One thing that we did do, we modified it because we know it's 12 steps and 12 weeks. So what we did was the first session was kind of introductory, and we did half of the first level. And then after that, we just had each level for the next few sessions. And it worked out great. We had a very strenuous attendance. We told them they could only miss one session, and before they can move to the next session, they had to make it up. So we did record it, yes. And they're on here, so they'll tell you it's true. But we did record it, and we would send it to them, and they made up the session and then moved to the next session. So if after they completed all of the sessions, at the end, we were able to bring what we call, and I know we'll get into this, but that financial team that we talked about, we brought financial team members as well for them to see.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about that. Yes, indeed. Miss Olivia, can you share a little bit about how you were able to lead your sorority sisters to the 23 graduates you had?
We did. Our focus was somewhat similar. Our focus was really, we wanted to engage the community. So we, of course, opened it up to our sorority sisters, but we wanted to have members of our community also join us. And because we were a little bit calendar challenged, we went with the 4-week option as well. And it worked out pretty well for us. We partnered, well, not really partnered, but we hosted the first and last session in person. And then the 2 sessions in the middle were virtual. So the first one, it allowed us to, see them face to face, kind of create an expectation of, this is a safe space. You're welcome to share what you would like, those kinds of things. It was very, very beneficial, I think, because it sort of set the tone for our sessions throughout. And then we went through each of the other 4 weeks, in succession. I like the idea about the requirement for moving to the next session, because we did record our sessions, but wasn't as strict as that. So that's definitely a good idea to keep everybody on track and bring them through to completion.
Excellent. This is such good information. You mentioned 2 things, and I think I'll let both of you touch on them. But the one thing I was very interested in hearing from you is that not only was this curriculum open to your sorority sisters, but it was also open to the community. What steps did you take to engage the community and to bring them in?
Probably one of the bigger things is our social media pages are pretty heavily followed. We also have an event platform that is pretty heavily followed by community members. So when they see not only this program, but other programs, they are easy to engage and register and get started with. So that's where I think we got a lot of our community members. We actually had a really good representation from the community, which I was very, very excited about, because not only, we just wanted to engage the community. That's really what our focus was on this initial program. So
That's great. That's great. And Ms. Sharnita, yours was internal, right? Just for the sorority sisters?
We had both as well, and we even had individuals from out of state.
Oh,
So everything was totally virtual. Our next session, we're going to kind of do a hybrid, but this was entirely virtual except for the graduation. We got to see each other in person, so it was great hugging and seeing each other at the end.
Oh, this is excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm so glad that both of you reached out to the community, because that's really what it's all about. We want to go outside the 4 walls of the church, but we also want to serve our community when we're in Greek letter organizations or any other organizations. So this is really good. I need to check the chat for a couple of, because I see some things going on in the chat. So first, I see some folks that are shouting out their churches, but it looks like someone had a pretty lengthy comment. So I want to make sure I get it. Some people want to know about what length of time this workshop tonight will be on for an hour. We'll be closing out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me see. I wasn't sure if it was your workshop or our workshop that's going on now. Here's someone that is on D-Free, and they previously were part of it, and they have a question. Okay, so if you leave your question in the chat, Ms. Cotton, we'll be able to make sure we answer it and you can get the recording. And that way you'll be able to get the information. Thank you. It looks like a couple of people are answering questions in here. All right. So we want to go back. So another thing that you mentioned was just about creating a safe space for your sorority sisters. Now we have a general, safe space because of the sisterhood, but now you have the community in, and they're being it. You want to make sure that they felt safe. How did you create a safe space? What was it? Were there any best practices you could share with us about creating that confidentiality or allowing people to be able to share? Because, I don't know about you, but growing up, when we went on my house, stayed in my house, my mother didn't want to talk about anything about finances. We weren't having that, and we don't tell anybody what's going on. And so when you're in a community environment like that with as many people as you had, how were you able to establish that?
For us, it was really, it was part of our initial housekeeping. We just said, you're not obligated to share anything, but if you would like to, you're welcome to. We created a no judgment zone. It's like, we all can learn from one another, and just created a space where they were open to share. And they actually took advantage of it. I mean, we had a lot of engagement and conversation during our sessions.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we did the same thing, and also by sharing my own personal experiences and things that I have gone through, individuals would say, okay, I'm not the only one going through this, and they would open up and speak, and it allowed more individuals to engage. So we also had a lot of engagement that I was actually surprised some things that came out, and we were thankful to hear those and know that we reached individuals in the community.
That's so good. And it is so true. I think in the beginning, people are apprehensive, but once you start getting into the meat and you see that Dr. Soares has already shared his personal testimony, and then you as trainers share your testimony, and you don't have to tell the whole story, but even if you give one nugget, then people are like, okay, yep, so that happened with me. Okay, so I can share this. The other thing that we found in the past is that as people start to experience victories, they start to share, I was victorious over this thing. And so it's telling what they've been through as well as how they've overcome it using the D-Free curriculum. Did you have any testimony time with your sorority sisters and community?
We did. We actually gave them an opportunity on each level if there were any aha moments or takeaways that they had. And so some of them came, organically from the curriculum, and then others, just it created an awareness. One thing I know that came out several times was when we identified those spending leaks, and many people were like, I just had no idea. I just had no idea. So just becoming aware of some of the things that they were mindlessly doing and making, putting in a plan to make change.
Excellent, excellent.
And we did the same thing during each session, we had those aha moments or testimonials, and they were able to give those and just talk about those. We talked about the spending leaks a lot, and just being aware of what you're spending and those needs versus those wants. So getting in the curriculum and knowing, and they talked about waiting 30 days, as it'll tell you, waiting 30 days to see if you still want that item. So we definitely talked about that throughout. And when we would see each other out in the community, and if we were shopping, they'll say, okay, D-Free, so it worked everywhere we went.
I love it. That's a code word, but don't overspend. It's so funny because even as I shared it, I said testimony service, and you all said aha moments. I know I'm very, very churchy at times, Reverend Shonda Sutton, I get it. But this was done in an environment where everybody wasn't churchy. How were you able to weave the faith-based and I guess balance faith-based and secular to those who were not necessarily churchy? How were you able to do that? And how did you use it within the curriculum?
So what we did, since we are faith-based as well, we still opened up every session with prayer. And we also had a memory verse. But what we did take out was the Bible story discussion. So we did take that part out because we condensed it into the 4 sessions, the 4 levels. Our sessions were like 2 hours anyway, so we had to do something to condense it. So that's what we took out as far as that deep discussion. Now, that doesn't mean we didn't get into the discussion. Sometimes we did, but because it just came out with some of the testimonies and things that we read in our textbook and things that we talked about in the workbook, but we did remove just that portion.
Got it. Excellent. What about you, Ms. Blakemore?
It was really pretty much the same for us. Like she said, we are faith-based, so wanted to kind of tie it. And then, when Dr. Soares provided sort of the backdrop scripture, just letting them know that they could, consult their resources, to learn more about that, but just to sort of give that theme for the level and then kind of move on from there.
Oh, that's excellent. That is a wonderful way of segueing and balancing things. So thank you for that suggestion. I think a lot of times when folks hear it at first, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know the Bible, or I don't know this. So that was a really good way of being able to bring that in. One of the things I also noticed that both of you use the facilitator's guide. And so I know that now our current curriculum resides on our DFree online curriculum, and folks can find that at mydfree.org. And you can always sign up. I'm sure they're going to drop something in the chat if you ever want to do it online. However, you all use the facilitator's guide as well as videos. Can you just tell us how you were able to teach outside of using the Academy? Because I think that's important for folks to know.
For us, we definitely use the videos and kind of use those as the focal point, but created sort of a PowerPoint presentation around those topic areas. And so those were like the jumping off points for our discussions when we would watch the videos or would look at the statistically speaking or the money tips. And that's where we sort of initiated a lot of our further conversation. Being able to, take into account specific experiences and, some strategies to improve.
Excellent. What about you, Ms. Sharnita?
So we went through the Academy, but we also as well had a PowerPoint presentation. So we kind of flipped back and forth during each session. So it was pretty similar to exactly what Sarah Blakemore said.
Excellent. So this is good. I want to ask you this. As instructors, did you have any victorious moments, like something where you saw your class go, wow, proud mama moments? Because I know that a lot of times we put a lot into the training, we put a lot into learning more about, we want to share, and we hope everybody's light bulb goes off. So do you have any light bulb moments, or even in teaching, that you can share with some of the folks that are here?
For me, I think just being able to empower people to make better changes in their lives. None of us, obviously are perfect. There's many things that we can all learn, but just giving the community an opportunity to really just find that space where they can start from here and move forward, regardless of what, information, or challenges they faced financially, they can start here and move forward. And just listening to their testimonials of, I called and made a change about or asked for a lowering of my interest rate on my credit card, or, just hearing them putting those practices in action was really, really good for me and for my team too, I think. So.
All right.
Yes, the testimonies are what kept me going. I'll tell you that. And we also utilized, and I didn't say this, the $1 Billion Challenge with ours as well. And so with our group, we asked them to sign up. And so hearing the testimonies, and I had, there were a couple individuals and they shared their testimony. One, their credit score increased using the DFree principles between 19 and 30 points. So an individual was able to pay off her car and pay off a couple loans. So as a group, we put in a debt reduction goal of $20,000, but we actually reduced our debt collectively $25,779 going through this. And so we were just so excited, and that just really kept us going. And we had individuals that had their own business, and they talked about how they empower youth and individuals already and teach. Well, they're also going to utilize this now and bring, and so that they can teach them about finances, teach them how to be debt-free at a young age. So that was our takeaway, and we're just so excited about that.
Oh, this is so good and so rich. I am loving this. I am so loving this. I know that we've talked about all the pretty things and all the great things and all the wonderful things, but I know there had to be some challenges. So if there were any challenges, I think we should kind of let everybody ear hustle on some of the challenges. That way, if they're faced with those similar challenges, we'll be able to help them overcome it. So what was your biggest challenge, I guess? Did you hit any brick walls?
I did, and I would say you all laid it out so wonderfully. Let me say that. And I know Josh is on here, and I contacted Josh all the time. So all the time. So he was my support person. But how you laid it out to have that administrator and that coordinator and all those things, I would recommend that individuals not only have one, but have multiple, because sometimes life hits and you don't know what can happen with an individual, and then you're stuck kind of doing that. So I would definitely say bring on more individuals for those roles, and that will make it a lot smoother.
Excellent. That's a great suggestion. Those roles are really important, and that way it doesn't all fall on one person. And if everybody focuses on that, then all the work gets done. So that's really, really good. And you know what? It keeps them engaged as well. So that's really brilliant. Thank you for that suggestion. Mrs. Blakemore, did you run into any brick walls or any challenges?
I think our challenges were largely just because we were trying to get it off the ground and figure out, how we could put everything together. I would say they were kind of more behind the scenes, if you will. But we were able to work through it, just, persevering and pivoting when needed.
Oh, that's wonderful. As you should, ladies of Delta Sigma Theta. I'm sure you did persevere and knock it out the park. So that's a great thing. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Can you tell me what's on the horizon? Like, what's the next step? You had this wonderful moment, this aha moment, this great graduation and all of this. What's next?
Well, we plan to, we were not able to sort of weave in directly the $1 billion challenge, but we do plan to follow up with our initial inaugural course and sort of get them a little bit more engaged with that, for that, and then considering our next session and what that might look like.
Excellent, excellent. What about you, Ms. Sharnita?
We've already opened up cohort 2.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, nice.
So we will begin in September, and we're already planning. So we're excited.
Very good. This is wonderful. I'm sure, because one of the things we found is that the word of mouth when it comes to D-Free is just incredible. People will tell you bad news and they will gossip and all that kind of stuff. But when it's a good thing and people spread it, then that's really, that shows us that we're on to something. And so I find that when people start to graduate and start to see their finances change and their financial picture change, we find that we see them telling other folks about it and everybody telling somebody, because that's the last part of D-Free. The last level is to give back. And so one of the ways that you can give back is by sharing with someone else. And I hear you all talking about the $1 billion challenge. Now is a great time for some station identification. If you are not part of the $1 billion challenge, you go to $1 Billion Paydown or $1 Billion Challenge right now and sign up. It's a wonderful way. Delta Sigma Theta sorority. At this point, I think you guys have paid down over $10 million as a sorority as a whole. So you not to shout each other out for that. You've been doing it for years. It's a wonderful way because it's a confidential place where it's an online tracker. We don't know your business. Your sorority sisters don't know your business. The group that you're in, they don't know your business. It's your own accountability. It's really between you, the $1 Billion Challenge, and God. And you're paying down debt, but you can also be accumulating savings. And all you're doing is logging that information. And it goes into this communal pool where everyone is paying down debt. And as you know, your chapter is going in Mobile and your chapter is going over there in Georgia. You watch all this paying down, and then my church is going, and then all together, we're looking to pay down $1 billion worth of debt in the Black and Brown community. And so if you're not a part of that challenge, we want to invite you to do that today. You're going to find a link in the chat. You just sign up. You don't have to give your blood type. You don't have to give your social security number. You don't even have to give the number and the IDs of your credit cards. It's just looking for what type of debt you have. Car note, credit card. That's it. That's as specific as it is. And you pay down what it is that you're looking to pay down, and you make your own goals. And we want to see you achieve them. So it's a wonderful accountability tool. And I'm glad you all are using it, because you as a sorority, like I said, you guys have been making waves with that for years. So it's good to see that it's evolved into even the more. I want to check the chat because I'm sure I did a lot of talking. I just want to make sure. Okay, so we got the online academy registration is right in the chat there. Thank you, Miss Royetta, another one of your sorority sisters talking about testimony moments. Let's see. I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Are there any questions? Because we want to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunity to ask these experienced teachers, now they've got these inaugurals out the way, ask them any questions you may have. You can feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself, or you can drop it in the chat. So I see some, hey, Nikki Gentry, I see you in the chat. Roseville, California. That's where you are. I knew you were in California, Miss Royetta. I did not know it was Roseville. Okay, let's see what's going on. All right, there's another link in the chat so you can register for BDC. That's in the chat, as well as registering for the online academy if you want to take online academy courses. Let's see, ladies, is there anything you would do differently this next time around? Anything you want to change up? And I know you had this wonderful experience and you've got these graduates and now you got these things under your belt. Anything you want to change up?
We probably will just sort of do our initial advertising, kind of get that going, because we ended up with our advertising period and our registration period running a little bit too close together. So just kind of spreading that out, kind of getting our calendar completely laid out initially so that we know when those touch points are, so we can continue to move through the program at a smooth pace.
Wonderful. That's a great suggestion. I'm glad you mentioned advertising. I think that's one of the ways to draw folks in. While we use our word of mouth to tell people about the program, they got to know where to come. They got to know what it looks like. People have a lot of questions. And so if you do that advertising and make it creative, I've seen people do, share on social media like you have, but I've also seen people do little mini commercials and infomercials and things like that. So you can even be creative with that. So if you have a member or a person in your chapter that is social media savvy or someone with an advertising background, I say tap into them. They may not want to use the D-Free curriculum, but they can certainly help you advertise it. Ms. Shanita, I see you shaking your head. What are your suggestions? What would you do differently?
The same thing, just start early like we did, open up cohort 2 now because we kind of waited to the last minute, but we also have our calendar already planned out. And so that's just the biggest part. As far as the curriculum and everything, you all have it laid out. And now that we have everything laid out, it's just the execution and those individuals that are going to work with your participants and things like that.
Oh, this is excellent. I just have to shout, first of all, the two of you out, but also everybody in this chat answering questions for us. There's a whole conversation going on in the chat. So thank you to all of our seasoned vets answering and helping and assisting with Ms. Cotton. Thank you, Ms. Cotton, for signing on. Thank you for being interested. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Nikki. I see a lot going on in the chat. We appreciate that. Is there anybody at this time that wants to join in and ask a question? You can feel free to ask a question. I know we're highlighting Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated tonight, but even if you're not a member of Delta, or you have a question, or a member of a church or not a member of a church, or just somehow or another tripped up on this very lovely conversation, feel free to jump in and ask any questions you may have. Nikki, you the bomb, girl, you the bomb. So I want to ask you this. Let's see, as your cohorts are going, are you identifying folks that you think can help lead? Are you seeing those natural things emerge? Okay, can you share a little bit about that, Ms. Shanita?
Yes. So we have individuals, what we did as far as the give back, like we did in the last session, individuals saying, yes, I want to be a part of this and I would love to lead. I would love to help facilitate this. And so that's where this is what we're doing now. There are churches that have asked to join as well and come on board. So we're looking at having different individuals because it looks like this cohort is going to be pretty large. So those leaders have a leader out at each location and pulling these individuals together. So we have several individuals that will be going through the facilitator and the leader classes that you offer as well. So you'll see more leaders coming out of this area.
Excellent. That's wonderful to hear. And I'm so glad you touched on the fact that churches are interested, because the reality is we all wear more than one hat. And we're in so many different spaces and places, and there are many ways to share the D-Free curriculum. And so if you are a member of a church and you're a member of a sorority, you can bring them to both. If you're a member of the Links, if you're a member of Jack and Jill, if you're a member of Mocha Moms, it doesn't matter. There's so many people that need this information. And so I'm grateful that you all saw beyond the sorority into the community and even into churches. And I'm so glad that you're identifying leaders. Now, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but I also have a question for the two of you that I don't want to lose. And so as I go, when I go to Miss Blakemore, I want you to answer the question about identifying leaders as well. But I also want to know what made you want to lead? What made you desire to lead? So I'm going to ask Ms. Blakemore, and I'll give you a minute to think about it, Ms. Shanita.
As far as identifying leaders, I think there probably will be at least a few that come out of our class, and in part of their testimonials, they were, sharing opportunities that they had available. One person had a community organization another organization that she was a part of, that she wanted to begin to introduce principles to. Someone else just said, I'm going to take this back to my family because we have habits that we need to make change with. So I feel like there will definitely be some leaders that come out of our initial cohort, and others to follow, I'm sure. Because once you, like you said, once you learn something new and it's beneficial to you, you absolutely want to share. So we're looking forward to moving forward and identifying others that, can lead the curriculum in other spaces where they are.
Yes, this is great. Like I said, we need more leaders, and we're so grateful that you all are passing the torch and allowing folks to come on board and encouraging leadership. And I do want to know, what was the impetus for you taking on this role, bringing D-Free and the inaugural class, which means you had to start this thing out the gate. So what made you say yes to it? And I'm going to go ahead and take on this challenge.
For me, it's personal finance has always been something that I've just been very, very much interested in and wanting to share those principles with really anyone who's willing to listen. And really with D-Free, I mean, I've taken the courses even before the upgrade or to the academy and all of that. But for me, it was the opportunity. I mean, I have a financial background. I work with insurance, but not having to have a bunch of letters or designations or whatever behind my name. It's just the ability and just knowing that it's something that I can train myself to do and then share with others. So that was really the biggest thing for me. I've always had an interest in it and a passion. And this program allowed me to, become trained and share with others. So that was it for me.
This is so good. I'm grateful for that. Yes, indeed. And I'm glad you mentioned that you didn't have to have a bunch of letters behind your name. Yes, you do not have to be a financial professional in order to share D-Free with others. And that is a very, very important point. You just have to have a heart for folks and a desire to see them change their lifestyles and live better according to what they've been blessed with. So this is a great thing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, I gave you a whole long runway, Ms. Shanita. So, tell me.
For me, it was similar. I'm in workforce development, been in economic development, and just to do this work and share it, but it was a little more personal as well. After going through, because I went through the first facilitator training and then the new one came, but to hear Dr. Soaries and just talk about, there was a story where he, talked about your financial situation and not blaming others. And so I think about just my personal life and having my two girls, they're grown now, but having my two girls, and I was married to their dad, and I don't mind sharing my personal testimony, but this just having them and, things happen in life. And I didn't expect to be divorced when I was and having those two young daughters. And so at that moment, looking at my income, I was just like, wow, I could have easily blamed my ex-husband, but you know what? It wasn't his fault. It was me being comfortable making what I was making because we were married. But I didn't change anything different after we got divorced, except apply and just applied myself. And I was able to get an increase each year for the next 3 years to where I tripled my salary, and I didn't do anything different. So to be able to tell that story to others, to let them know that even if you're married, still do it for yourself. You should be able to pay those bills alone. And if you both can do it, then you can definitely be very powerful together. But don't be in a situation where you're not and you're wondering, well, what happened? It's his fault. No, or it's her fault. No, you got comfortable. So that going from victim to victor, that's what I love about this.
Child, is that a word? That's a word. I hope everybody's putting snaps in the chat. That is beautiful. Thank you so much for your transparency, because life has happened to a lot of us. And I know there's some amen in the corner. That I told you this is the amen corner in the chat. So a lot of life has happened to a lot of us. And I thank you for just talking about the bounce back and what it looks like on the other side. It was inspirational. So thank you for sharing. So again, you've heard it here. You don't have to be a financial professional, and even you don't even have to be the expert on money. You just have the desire to change your lifestyle. And so we want to encourage you, if you're not already a leader in D-Free, if you haven't taught a class or you have a desire to, you can find that information in our leaders training. And so that'll also be listed. There's going to be a link for that in the chat as well. So if that's your interest, if that's your desire to share D-Free with others, come on in. We enjoy it. We see some questions in the chat. Looks like there was a question about sharing and resources for young adults. And if you are interested in sharing with young adults, because that's a wonderful foundation, you want to make sure you go to academy@mydfree.org, and Josh will assist you. So we're excited about that. Question also in the chat: what is a good size for a manageable cohort? Do you all have a recommendation for a good size for a manageable cohort?
For us, we targeted initially 50, and like I said, with the challenges that we had with the advertising and that sort of thing, but we feel like where we ended up with that around 25, 30, we feel like that was really kind of a sweet spot, if you will, because we were hybrid initially, it focused on our service area, our community of people who are within the area that we service. So we felt like that was a good number. We may raise it a little bit, but probably not too much, just to keep that sort of integral feeling and sort of small group feel. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Love it. Love it. Ms. Shanita, do you have a recommendation?
The 50 number that we had was not bad at all. And it looks like we may be raising it a little. However, we're going to put a cap. We probably won't go over 70, and depending on how many leaders come out of this next group, because we already have about 4 identified. So if that's the case, then we can definitely manage those individuals.
Excellent. That's absolutely the key. Everybody's church and everybody's organization, everybody's chapter is of different sizes. And so you can you want to manage what your chapter is manageable for. And so so a cohort would kind of depend on your own personal audience. The other thing was how many leaders you have, how much help do you have? You mentioned all the different parts. So if you got some help, then it's a little bit more manageable. But again, D-Free, the wonderful, great, terrific thing about D-Free is that it's customizable. It's just no one-stop shopping. You can go ahead and say, this doesn't work for me, but this does. You can chew up the meat and spit out the bones. You can say, this is how big we are, such a large chapter, we need 500 graduates. Or, we're a smaller chapter. We're going to start off with 10. So it is customizable. So those of you who are asking about the cohort size, it is up to you. And even the length of time that you study is up to you. I heard you mention yours was 4 weeks?
Yes.
Was it? Yeah, 4 weeks for you, Ms. Blakemore. And then Shanita, how long were you guys?
So we did, the way we did it, we started in January, we ended in April, but we had a couple of the months, we only did 1 session that month. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, we started doing every other week because we have that Mardi Gras in between here in Mobile. So it just worked out best for us. But the way we're going to do it next, it'll be every other week. And so we'll have 4 sessions, and well, actually 5, because the 5th one would be our financial team coming in.
Now, I'm so glad you brought up the financial team, because we said we were going to get to it. We just got about a few more minutes. Can you share with us this wonderful idea of a financial team and how it worked for your chapter?
Yes, so we talked about the importance of having that financial planner, how important it is to talk about will and estate planning, having the importance of insurance. So we were able to bring in a financial planner, certified, not just a financial planner, but certified. We were able to bring in an insurance professional. And then we even brought in, because someone asked, every time we had, we would ask them, who would you like to see? What are you having challenges with? So individuals had challenges with credit. So we brought in a credit professional as well. So we brought in different individuals. And so on that last, for that last session, they all had about 15 minutes to kind of talk about it and give their contact information. And so we had a very in-depth session. It worked out great. Everyone was excited, and they're still talking about it because we had individuals that were at retirement age. And then we also had individuals that had just graduated college. So it doesn't matter what age level for individuals that are on here, and you're thinking maybe I should just start with younger individuals. It doesn't matter what age level they are. They can be just graduates or someone that's getting ready to retire, someone that's already retired that can go out and reach back into their family.
That was good. Good. Wonderful to have that team. I'm so glad that you recognize the need and brought folks in who could talk about it. It helps to break up the curriculum, but it also gives people a personal touch point and a reference and a resource. So that was so good. Yes. Ms. Blakemore, did you all use a financial team approach, or did you have any speakers come to your
We
group?
didn't have any speakers come this time. That is something that we were looking to consider because our Economic Development Committee also does some financial literacy sessions where we have those types of professionals. But and when we talked about level 3 Get Ahead, we did allow the participants to share if they had people on their financial team that they were, utilizing at this point. So they were able to share some of those people who were on their individual teams. But we may look to have some speakers to kind of break things up in the future.
Excellent. Oh gosh, you all have been such a blessing tonight. I'm hoping that all the Deltas in the building are already thinking about Financial Fortitude Month and what they're going to be doing and leading their groups up to that, and graduations and all kinds of things. You can have about 2 more sessions, 2 more cohorts before that. I'm just throwing it out there. We just are so grateful for the 2 of you sharing today. I hope that somebody was inspired. I know that we are all inspired by your testimony and your graduates and all of the wonderful things that you shared. We do have one little commercial break. We want to bring on Dr. Soaries for everyone. You got 2 more minutes if you want to ask some more questions. So start getting those in the chat. But I want to make sure that everyone hears about our collaborative, our collective that's coming. So I want to make sure that everyone hears about that. We've been talking about it. We've been sharing it, but now you get to hear it really good from Dr. Soaries. So if you give me a second, we'll go ahead and bring him in. Well, not him, but a video of him. Are you ready? Let's go. A message from Dr. Soaries.
I'd like to invite you to join us for our annual D-Free Leadership Conference on Saturday, July 29th at 10 a.m. This conference will feature speakers who will describe for you the kind of impact D-Free is making in local churches. We'll have a panel of community leaders who will also talk about the D-Free strategy used outside of the church in communities around this country. We have an update for you that's very exciting about D-Free work in Africa, Ghana, South Africa, and others. Then we have some special announcements. We're launching the D-Free Collective, which is a network of individuals and groups working in cooperation with each other. We have a school curriculum called D-Free EDU. And then we've got D-Free Digital, a new mobile platform to share D-Free principles, practices, and knowledge all on your phone. This is going to be a great day. We've got some surprises and some special speakers. So join us Saturday, July 29th, 10 a.m. You can click the link to register. It's all free. I'll see you there.
So excited. I am so excited. You heard it first, folks, right here, July 29th, officially our leadership conference is happening July 29th. It is free. It's for the free. That means you don't pay a thing. So we want to invite you all. If you take a look in the chat, there's going to be a link for you to register. This registration is open up just for this group. Just for this group, we're opening up for you guys, the faithful few that are here on Monday Night Live. We always try to give you information that are hot off the presses. And so just as surprised as you are, our leadership conference is happening, and we're excited because unlike, previous years, sometimes we've had them just in New Jersey or just in Indianapolis or a location. Everybody can attend. You can share with anybody because we are going to be virtual. There's a link to register on Hopin is where we're going to, I believe that's going to be the platform. There's a pre-registration and it's going to be open effective tonight. We're opening it for this group only. So you guys will be the first, hot off the presses. So we want to thank you so, so much. There are going to be panels and presentations, and there's going to be promotions. We're excited about all the things that are going to be taking place. Dr. Sories dropped a couple of little nuggets and a couple of little hints. He will not be sharing that with everybody else, but that video is made just for you. So I hope you all will register right away. The registration is on and popping right now in the chat. So please be sure. Again, you'll find out more about our new D3 collective and how you can be a part of it and what that's all about and what that network is all about. You'll get more information. We have some surprise guests. Really excited about what's taking place. Want to share a couple more things with you before we head out. We still got a little bit more time, so we'll make sure we do this. So again, we want to get you ready for the new D-Free Collective. But we also want to shout out those of you who have been paying down debt in the $1 Billion Challenge. We're at $39,369,684. We mentioned it earlier today, so if you're not involved, get involved at www.billiondollarpaydown.com or www.billiondollarchallenge.com. Debt paid off to date, almost $40 million. We are slowly but surely marching our way to $1 billion worth of debt paid down and $1 billion worth of savings accumulated. So if you are a member of Delta Sigma Theta, your sorority is already involved on a national level. If you're a member of one of the chapters mentioned tonight in Mobile, all right, you can join us. And then you can join us if you're part of the, wait, let me see. Who else I got on here? What's the other alumni chapter?
Marietta Roswell.
Roswell. What's the other part?
Marietta Roswell.
Yes, my pastor's right there in Marietta. Shout out to Zion Baptist Church, Pastor Eric M. Beckham, who's right there in Marietta, Georgia. Any members come say hello. But yes, both chapters are here. So I saw a lot of the members in the chat. So if you're already there, go ahead and join your chapter. Join your chapter and help pay down some debt. We also want to encourage you. We always have the give back. If you ever have a desire to donate to D-Free Global Foundation, there are many ways to do so. We love that part of the give back. And so we want to encourage you to do so. And last but not least, you can always visit our website, which is www.dfreefoundation.org. And you can sign up for our new D-Free Online Academy at mydfree.org. Again, you have those reminders for the $1 Billion Challenge. So feel free to do those. If you ever have a desire to share D-Free, whether it's in your church or in your sorority, or you want more information, or you just want to know about it as an individual, you can contact us at 844-693-3733. Or you can email info@mydfree.org. You already heard about it. Josh is going to answer that phone and he's going to answer you and give you great information. We thank God for Josh in the background, but we certainly thank God so much for Mrs. Olivia Blakemore. We appreciate you from the Marietta Roswell alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And we also thank God for Miss Shernita Taylor. We thank God for you of the Mobile alumni chapter. And we thank God for everybody who came out tonight. We hope and pray that you will join us on July 29th. And hopefully you'll join us at our next Monday Night Live session. We look forward to seeing all of you. And we thank you for your time. We also want to be D-Free with your time. So ladies, you have any last minute nuggets you want to drop? Any inspirational, any shout out to inspirational moments you want to tell everybody to encourage them to sign up and register? I'm gonna put it on you.
If you have a desire, just do it. Make
Just,
a change. Make a change.
I love it. Just like Nike, just do it.
Yep.
Anita?
I would say just do it as well. If you don't have to be an expert, I mean, everything is laid out for you. It's easy. It's not hard at all. Just go ahead and jump in. And like she said, Josh will be there to walk you through every step of the way. I feel like we're family.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Our last 7 minutes, we certainly want to shout out. It is not lost on us that you spent tonight with us, Miss Shernita Taylor. So happy birthday. Can everyone drop a whole bunch of happy birthdays in the chat?
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We hope we ended in time for you to be able to go to your birthday dinner. We love you for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Happy birthday to you. God bless you with many, many more. Thank goodness for just for being here. And we just hope you enjoy your birthday time tonight. Tell everybody in your family we appreciate them allowing you to hang out with us for a little while. God bless you, everyone. We will see you next time on Monday Night Live. Happy birthday, Shernita.
Thank you.
Birthday.
Good
Thank
night.
you for having us.
Oh, thank you for being here. Come on, put those birthday shout outs in there.